We're officially halfway through the year, and you know what that means. Time to go over the books that I've read currently so far. Hi, I'm Haley, and welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be going over all of the books that I've read currently so far this year. Granted, it's only 20 of them, but I'm going to be giving in more detail whether I would recommend them to you. I may be giving away a couple spoilers, so this is a warning now that if you don't want any spoilers, I would just, click off this video now if you can. First up is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I rated this book 4 stars and absolutely loved it. Now, did I read it after watching the movie? Yes. But I still loved the book and think the book was better than the movie, so it ended up working out perfectly fine. Up next, Tell Me Lies by Carola Lovering. Honestly, I did not like this book. I rated it 1.5 stars. I read it because there was also the TV series, which I absolutely loved. The drama in that TV series was perfection. But the book was the complete opposite. It shifted back and forth between the two main characters, and honestly, it could get confusing at times. It didn't suck me in the way I wanted it to, and I almost had to DNF it. Up next, Brimstone by Callie Hart. Now, I did say that I would only maybe recommend this book, but that's because there's a lot of world building when it comes to this, and I was getting very easily distracted and not understanding what was actually happening. I did still rate it 3 stars because I still thought it was a good book, but it just didn't do exactly what I was hoping it would do. I loved Quicksilver, but Brimstone just wasn't it for me. Up next, Finding Her Edge by Jennifer Ikapalia. Honestly, this book was okay for me. Again, it was another book that I read because a TV series was coming out for it. I did read it before watching the TV series, and I didn't mind the book. There were definitely things about it that I liked, seeing as I rated it 3 stars, but I ended up liking the TV series better because there was much more drama to it. It is a YA, so a lot of things don't really happen, and a lot of it is closed door, but it was still a good book. Up next, The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. I really did like this book. This was actually the second time that I've read it. I wanted to read any of the books that were in the Bridgerton series before the new season had come out. So I listened to it and rewatched the series, and I loved both of it. Now, there are quite a few differences when it comes to the book compared to the TV show, and that's okay. I did up ranking the book only 2.75 stars. It just wasn't fully there for me. I honestly liked the TV show better than I liked the book. Up next, The Viscount Who Loved Me, also by Julia Quinn. This is the second book in the Bridgerton series, and honestly, I liked this one a lot better than the first one. Again, I was reading it because I wanted to read the series before the next season came out, and honestly, I really did like it. There were still those very tense moments between the characters, and even more bits and pieces of the actual book that I saw in the TV show. I had already seen the TV show, so I already knew what was going to happen, but there were quite some differences, and also a lot of it was similar to the first book, but it just played out just a little bit differently. Up next, An Offer from a Gentleman, also by Julia Quinn. This is technically the third book in the Bridgerton series, but it is season 4 of the Bridgerton TV show, so that was a little bit different. The story does follow it pretty much exactly how it happens. However, there were things in the book that I didn't really like that is very different than in the series. If you know, you know. In the book, Benedict is kind of more of a rude to Sophie, where in the TV series, he has a lot more yearning for her, which I absolutely love. I did end up still rating it 3 stars because I still did like it. It just wasn't totally to the full potential that the TV series was. Up next, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I started this series because after the announcement for ACOTAR 6 and 7, everyone kept saying, you have to read Throne of Glass and you have to read Crescent City. And that everyone loves Throne of Glass. I, however, wasn't a huge fan of this. I don't know if it just didn't suck me in and I had so much expectation for it or what it was, but it just didn't do really anything for me. I still rated it 3.5 stars because I still did like it, but I wanted it to suck me in and keep me reading, which it didn't really. Up next, The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I didn't actually start reading this book until after the trailer had already come out for the TV series, but I absolutely loved it. Ate this up so fast that I couldn't put it down. And honestly, it was really good. Now, I did only rate it 4 stars, not a total 5 for me, but I loved it anyways, and I loved the characters. Up next, The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. This is the second book in the series, and I absolutely loved this one too. This one was a little bit of a harder read for me just because of the tropes that take place. I'm not a huge fan of it, hence Second Chance, but it was still a good book. I still rated it 3.5 stars, and I actually did like it. I love Logan as a character, and I love Grace as a character, but I just didn't like how things took place. Up next, Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. Again, this book was very hard for me to read because of all the world building. I still kept losing track of things and felt like I was totally sidetracked on what was actually happening, and it just didn't suck me in all the way. I still did rate it 3.25 stars because I still did like the book and I want to be able to like it and everything, but I just wasn't sucked in. And I know everyone keeps saying, keep reading, it gets better. But unfortunately, I had to take a break from this series. I'm hoping to go back to it, but it's just not on the top of my list right now. Up next, The Score by Elle Kennedy. I absolutely loved this book. I really did think that out of the series, I was going to be a Garrett girly, which I will say I still technically am, but I love Dean. I love the passion that this guy has and how important Allie is to him. That this book, I ate it up so fast that I was just amazed. I cannot believe that this book was the third one in the series. It's so good that I had to rate it 4.5 stars. I didn't rate it a full 5. I wanted to so badly. There was one thing that threw me off, and that's him calling her Alley Cat. I don't know. It didn't sit well with me, but I still loved it anyways. Up next, The Goal by Elle Kennedy. This is technically the last book in the off campus series. I really did like this book. However, I hate the pregnancy trope, and that is what takes place this entire book. Now, the other hard part about this book is it actually takes place at the same time the score does. So there are things happening. You go back in time pretty much and relive the timeline of the score all over again. So it can get confusing sometimes because certain things are happening at the same time. But overall, I did think it was a good book. I did like it. I love Tucker as a character and everything. I love Sabrina too. It's just that whole pregnancy trope that always throws me off. Next, The Chase by Elle Kennedy. Technically, this is book one of the Briar U series, which is the second group of books that take place after Off Campus. Now, there are still similar characters, but it follows 4 new people, 4 new couples, and I absolutely loved it. Colin Fitzgerald, he is a book boyfriend. He is so good, I couldn't help it. And I love Summer because she's so chaotic, just like I am. I did end up only rating it 3.75 stars because it is more of a slow burn. The connection between the two of them builds up so much that it really doesn't start happening until later in the book. Up next, Their Tangled Fates by Briella Brizio. Honestly, I did like this book. I did end up only rating it 3 stars. It was a little bit of a harder read for me because there is so much world building in it, but there are some huge plot twists that take place that honestly, if you aren't paying attention totally, you are going to miss them and be so confused. It was an arc for me, and I'm so glad that I got to be able to read it. And I do love this book and would probably recommend it to people. Up next, Mile High by Liz Tomford. This is the first book in the Windy City series, and honestly, I liked it a lot. Now, I did only rate it 3.5 stars. It was a great book, and I did love the characters. Xander's and Stevie, they are perfect together. And honestly, I love Stevie most of all because she is not your typical female character. She's very different. She has a very different body type, and that is one thing I absolutely loved. Up next, The Right Move by Liz Tomford. This is technically the second book in the Windy City series, and this was my first 5-star read of the year. Honestly, it was the best 5-star read of my year so far, even though it is the only one, but I absolutely loved it. The whole fake dating trope, I don't know what it is about that, but I absolutely love it, and I eat it up every single time. Ryan Shea is a book boyfriend, and I loved the references throughout the book about book boyfriends. And it was just perfect on all levels. And I was so glad that it was my first 5-star read of the year. Up next, Every Summer After. I wanted to read this book before watching the TV series, and I'm very glad that I did. Now, however, I wasn't a huge fan of the book. I did end up only rating it 3 stars. This one for me was a little bit hard again because I do not like the cheating trope. And that's what takes place. That is the huge thing that happens later on in the book. It's pretty obvious throughout the entire thing. I did like the back and forth of the timeline jump because it does show who the characters are now as to who they were when they were kids. And I do think that was really nice. However, I don't like the way the ending took place. And I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the TV show either, so I don't really know where I would go from there. And last but not least, Shield the Sparrows by Davini Perry. Honestly, I am so happy that I read this book. I had someone in my comments recommend this to me, the two books that are out in this series, and I'm so thankful because these books are so good. I am currently reading the second one right now, but this first one, it took me a while to really get into it, about 75% of the way through. And then all of a sudden, all of the plot twists, all of the changes, I was like, what is actually happening right now? And I was just in shock. This was my second 5-star read of the year, and I'm so happy because I loved everything about it. And I'm so glad that I'm reading the second book. And I'm so glad that everyone's recommended it to me. So far, that's all the books that I've read for the year. We are up to 20 books so far. My goal is only 25, and I'm hoping to surpass that. But I am so excited to keep reading. I'm currently reading 2 books right now, so we'll see where I go from there. But I will be sharing more reading wrap ups with you, and I can't wait to keep going on this journey. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next chapter.